For somebody who goes to like NC State or went to NC State, I would love to have James Franklin. I
Yep.
understand he can't win the big one, but I do think he is going to be a great find for someone. And maybe that someone is Virginia Tech, where he just landed.
I completely agree. I think that when this coaching cycle wraps up in college football this offseason, I think I can confidently say that James Franklin of Virginia Tech is going to be the number one in the power rankings for like how a team did in the offseason. Now, there could be a big surprise, like maybe Cignetti goes to Penn State, maybe Nick Saban comes back to LSU. Like, I don't think either of those things are going to happen, but it would take something like that for, I think, me to look at a school landing a better coach in their current situation than what Virginia Tech did. I think this is a home run hire. Like you said, James Franklin maybe couldn't win the big one. Maybe his time ran out at Penn State, but that still doesn't mean he's not a really good coach. That still doesn't mean he's not a terrific recruiter. And especially in the ACC, where Clemson certainly hasn't been the same team the last 5 or 6 years. Dabo can't figure out this NIL era. Florida State's super up and down. Miami can't ever win the big game. It feels like they're always great at the start of the year and kind of fall off. And we'll see what Georgia Tech is doing with Brent Key and if he moves on. So ACC is going to be wide open. And Franklin kind of being on that, mid-Atlantic, East Coast area, like he's right in the heart of where he loves to get all his recruits. So I think it's a slam dunk. And when Virginia Tech's rolling and when that place is winning football games, Lane Stadium is one of the best environments. We always think about Sandstorm at the beginning of games. So it is a terrific hire for Virginia Tech, Chelsea, and it's number one. Again, even if Kiffin goes to LSU, Florida, I still think Virginia Tech landing Franklin is a better hire for the Hokies. I think they nailed it. They couldn't have done any better than getting Franklin.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a great get. And I do think that a lot of times people have short memories and all they think of is this year at Penn State. But you've got to remember the place where Penn State was at when they hired James Franklin. And even when you go further back than that, like being here in Nashville, I think of James Franklin when he was at Vanderbilt. And like that is a very tough place. I understand Vanderbilt is flying high now, but they used to be the cellar dwellers of the SEC. And it's just hard to get recruits to a place that does not have the facilities or the money that some of these other programs have. But my one question mark on James Franklin is that he used to be known famously, and he probably still is, as being a really good recruiter. Do you think any of that negates itself now that we're in the NIL era? Like, does that matter as much?
I mean, even he still showed like he's getting top recruits, and also he's been killing it in the transfer portal. Like, that's why so many people, myself included, love Penn State because of what a great job he did with roster retention this past year, and then all the guys he was able to land in the portal. So I think Franklin's killing it. I mean, nowadays as a college coach, it's about the three main areas. You got to get guys out of high school, you got to get roster retention, and then you got to get guys out of the portal. Like, those are the three big things. And I think in the small sample size that we've gotten at Penn State, like, he's done a really good job of those three things, and I think he's going to do a really good job at Virginia Tech. And a bunch of coaches, they're maybe good at like two of those areas. They're not as good as third. Maybe they're only really good at one area, but I think Franklin's solid at all three. So again, that's why I still think in this day and age of college football, still a very good coach. I think a change of scenery is going to be really good for him. I love the fact he's staying on the East Coast. He's still got all these great recruiting connections and all these things. And players love him. He might not win big games, but he does get a bunch of talent.
Yeah, David, I want to bring you in because I know you have all kinds of things to say because you're a Penn State guy. And I want to start kind of with dovetailing off of what PJ was saying, is that when James Franklin left Penn State, it felt like you saw so many testimonials of guys who really liked him. And like, it just feels like he is a well-liked guy and all the players, have all these glowing things to say about him. So do you think we're, hyping up this hire too much? Or do you think as well that this is a great hire for Virginia Tech?
Oh, this is an absolute grand slam by Virginia Tech. Absolute grand slam. One of the things that I think appealed to James Franklin is, let's go to a lesser conference because his biggest goal is to be the first African-American head coach to win a national title. And where's the path easiest to get into the college football playoffs as in a Power 4 conference? Probably the ACC. Because you never know from year to year, and look at the chaos that is the ACC this year. I mean, to me, it was a grand slam. The problem is now Penn State has to do something, and quickly, because he is a beloved coach. He is a player's coach. There may be, and I've heard rumors, a mass exodus of guys going into the transfer portal, because I think it'd be a different story if James Franklin had taken the job in like UCLA or something like that. Va-Tech is a hop, skip, and a jump away from Penn State. You're not like traveling very far if you're a student. So, and most of those guys, like PJ said, are from that Virginia and East Coast area. So Penn State at this point has to make a decision, and make a decision quickly, so they can get a guy in there and try and fend off what James Franklin is probably going to try and do, and that's poach Penn State of a majority of the players that he recruited.
Yeah. David, have you heard any rumors or, hot gossip about who Penn State might hire?
There are 3 names right now that I am hearing a lot about. First is Drinkwitz, the head coach from Missouri. Hartline, the offensive coordinator and number 1 recruiter in the nation from Ohio State. The problem with that is he's an Ohio State alum. I don't know if he leaves Ohio State to go to Penn State. And the third one, and the most interesting one, is Brian Dable.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Even though Bill Belichick's not doing much to show that the NFL coaching pipeline to college is working out, but obviously that is a different situation.